the Corleone family were not evil. And I know that sounds like a completely insane thing to say about a violent mafia family that's so deeply embedded inside New York City's criminal underworld. But think about it for a second. When you actually sit down and watch The Godfather, what evil did you really see coming from them? And no, I'm not saying they were innocent, because throughout this movie, we see the Corleones commit acts of violence, intimidation, manipulation, corruption, and obviously murder. We see a lot of murder, and yes, those are crimes, there's no debating that, but here's the question that completely ruined my beliefs about this movie. Since when did crimes automatically become evil? Because in watching the Corleone family, it became harder for me to separate them from the people who run the real world. Think about it. When the mafia uses violence to protect territory, power, and their business interests, we call it criminal. But when governments do the exact same thing on a larger scale, suddenly it becomes war, foreign policy, national security, and protection. Which is okay, that's just how the world works, but it also makes Michael right. Because when his first love interest Kay tries to point out that politicians aren't gangsters, Michael laughs at the idea.
You know how naive you sound.
Why?
His one question points to our naivety and trusting the system and our gullible thought process.
Who's being naive, Kay?
To Michael, both mafia and government were exactly the same.
My father's no different than any other powerful man.
And honestly, the more I thought about it, the harder it became to explain why he was wrong. And that's the beauty behind this whole story. See, when I went into this whole movie, I came in trying to find evil, and somehow I couldn't. Not because these people were innocent, but because every horrible thing they did had reasoning paired with great intentions behind it. What I actually found was what looked like the average everyday, extremely loving Italian family, one that takes loyalty more seriously than anything else. I saw a father in Vito Corleone who was willing to go above and beyond to both provide for and protect the people around him. And that's what made this whole movie so uncomfortable, because the more time I spent with the Corleones, the less they felt like monsters, which is why the argument between Kay Adams and Michael Corleone completely rattled me, because somehow I could see both their sides. From Kay's perspective, these are dangerous criminals, violent men hiding behind the word family while manipulating politicians, controlling businesses, and killing people in order to maintain power. And technically, she's not wrong. But from Michael's perspective, the world outside the mafia didn't seem all that different, because once you strip away the suits, the titles, and the flags, what exactly separates a crime family from a government? Both protect their interests, both use violence, both maintain power through force, both justify horrible things by claiming it's necessary for the people they protect. But even though they were both so similar, there's a reason why only Michael sees the other side of that coin. To Kay, the Corleones were just criminals, but to Michael, they were dad. They were his brothers, his family. And I think that proximity changes the way human beings process morality more than I'd like to admit, because it's easy to condemn strangers. It's harder to condemn people you understand. And that's the thought that started breaking my brain while watching this movie, because Michael wasn't arguing that the Corleones were innocent. He just knew them on a personal level, so he could see the intent behind their actions. No, what he was arguing was that the world itself might not be as morally clean as Kay believes it is. See, evil can be defined as a profound immorality, wickedness, or the causing of significant, unnecessary harm and suffering. And from the outside, it can be easy for someone like Kay to slap that title and definition on those she doesn't know. But Michael doesn't see the world that way anymore. He knows that each of those underlying concepts that define evil can be broken down, because he knows that that definition is malleable. The way Kay and society see things, the Mafia were out of control. Their actions were out of bounds, and they did nothing but color outside of the lines. Therefore, their conduct was immoral. But morality changes from perspective to perspective, and that's the thought that The Godfather kept forcing me to sit with. Because if two different groups, the government and the Mafia, can commit the exact same wickedness, but society only condemns one of them, then maybe evil isn't as simple as we pretend it is. Maybe society doesn't define evil. Maybe society defines acceptable power. And the more I thought about that idea, the more this movie started getting under my skin. Because technically speaking, the Corleones are criminals, but at the same time, they're also functioning like a government, which for me begs the question, were the Corleones ever evil? Because if evil is simply causing suffering to maintain power, well then history gets very complicated very quickly. And I think that's why Michael Corleone laughs at Kay, not because he believes the Mafia is innocent, but because he believes the whole world itself is built on the exact same behavior. And the only difference is scale and who has permission to do it. But don't get me wrong, my argument isn't because everybody else does it, that must make it okay. What the Corleones did, specifically what Michael gets involved in, and even who we see him become, points to the tragedy of this world. In this movie, we watch as he slowly becomes a criminal. We get to experience his emotional descent. We feel his isolation, paranoia, manipulation. We watch him casually lie to his own wife, and we see him orchestrate the wildest series of murders. But we all know the movie isn't saying murder is okay. It's showing how easily human beings can rationalize terrible things when survival, loyalty, and power get involved. But again I ask, were the Corleones evil? And the answer is still no. The Corleones weren't evil in a cartoonish sense. They weren't monsters twirling mustaches and hurting people for fun. They were human beings shaped by violence, power, fear, loyalty, survival, and circumstances. And that's exactly what makes them terrifying. However, if evil can be reasoned into, if violence can be normalized, if love and brutality can exist in the same person or even the same family, well then, evil isn't some distant thing committed by monsters. It's something ordinary people can slowly become without even noticing. And that doesn't fit this description.